Welcome in to BKL Nightly. Thank you for joining me on this Wednesday. I'm your host for tonight, Rachel Liebert. I'm always here on Wednesdays with you to get you caught up with all of your Bills news. Out of Orchard Park today, just a few days out of a very big matchup for the Bills and for the Patriots this weekend. A rematch of that Week 5 loss for the Bills. Patriots obviously got that big win, and they've been rolling ever since. They are on a 10-game win streak. The Bills on a 2-game win streak, looking to make it 3 this weekend. And a lot of thoughts about, playoff implications. Are the Patriots actually really good? Are the Bills going to win this weekend? A lot of thoughts coming from this AFC East matchup. So as we always start, we will get into our injuries of the day. And guess what, guys? Very short injury report today. Good news, big game, short injury reports. What we like to hear. Dawson Knox was the only one who did not practice. He's out with a personal reason, so it doesn't seem to be injury, so looking like he'll be fine for this weekend. And then a few limited guys. Terrell Bernard limited with an elbow injury. Joey Bosa, hamstring and wrist injury, also limited. Those two were inactive on Sunday against Cincinnati, and they did not practice all of last week, so this is an upgrade for them to be limited this week. Spencer Brown, he's been dealing with a shoulder injury, was not active last week as well, and was limited all of last week, so no change in that designation for him. But Josh Palmer upgraded to limited. He did not practice last week. He's got an ankle injury. He's been dealing with an ankle lower leg injury, so now just kind of the ankle is what it is now. And then Dalton Kincaid was a fool. He did play against Cincinnati, of course, but he has not been a full practice participant for weeks since he's been dealing with that hamstring injury. And now it's just knee. So it looks like the hamstring is all clear, but now he's still dealing with that knee injury, but he was full today. And Cole Bishop was full with a calf injury. All right, so as I said, a lot of playoff implications for this game this weekend, and the AFC East title is on the line. The Patriots can clinch with a win over the Bills, and the Bills are looking to keep their hopes alive of a division title. They've taken 5 straight AFC East titles, so this weekend is a big one if the Patriots, can get that and kind of upset that streak. Obviously, the Patriots were the force in the AFC East several years ago. Then the Bills kind of took over these last few years. So it's kind of been interesting to see the shakeup of the AFC East. Maybe this is the start of another Patriots dynasty. Maybe it's Drake May. I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But with so much on the line this weekend, the Bills were asked today, are they going to prevent, are they going into this game looking to prevent the Patriots from clinching, or are they just kind of seeing this as another game? So Thad Brown was out in Orchard Park today, talked to a few of the guys just on, what their thoughts are of trying to stop the Patriots from getting a big win and clinching the division this weekend.
There's always a motivation when you're playing New England. They had our number, for a number of years since 2017, really, since going back in this rivalry. They beat us early in the year, so, it's always extra motivation. You're playing New England. It's a good football team, and like I said, we're going to have to be ready to play.
We're going to take pride in winning football games, and they have something for it, so we're going to try to take it away. I think that's the name of the game. They're going to try to take pride in it and be motivated to win. So, that's the way it is. We try to win games. We're going to try to win games, and we'll find out on Sunday.
I think we understand as a team what's at stake, but I don't think that's going to influence anything. It's the next game. It's the biggest game that we have because it's the next one, and all we're trying to focus on is putting together the best game plan that we can against a really good team.
It's certainly one of our goals every year. We also have other goals amongst that goal as well. So, we go into every game with the mindset of playing our best football.
We're just taking one game at a time, right? The division is still open. We still got 4 games left. Anything can happen. But right now, we're just taking one game at a time. And this week, we got the Patriots.
So as everyone knows, and as I mentioned already, the Bills lost once to the Patriots this year at a time when the Patriots were 2-2. They were trying to figure it out. Everybody was, this is a decent Patriots team, but let's remember the Patriots went 4-13 last season. So the turnaround to now being an 11-2 team at the top of the AFC, or, they might have slid down now, but at the top of the AFC East, at least, and contention to being in the playoffs. Some people saying a Super Bowl. I don't know if we'll go that far, but the turnaround to what this team is really been crazy to watch, to say the least. So the Bills did take that loss in Week 5. It was kind of a shootout. I mean, the big thing with the Bills is that they had several turnovers that game, and they definitely lost the turnover battle. Josh Allen had 2 interceptions, I believe. 1 interception, and there were a few fumbles. So, is that right? A few fumbles. Yep. Josh Allen had a fumble. Okay. Josh Allen, interception, fumble, and Keon Coleman had the fumble. Yes, I do remember that now. They had their white jerseys on, their cold, snowy jerseys everybody was excited about, and then they lost to a team that was not supposed to be this good. But now we know the Patriots are a little bit better than everybody thought at the time when they were freaking out about losing to the Patriots. So the Bills obviously learned a lot of things in that loss, and here's them talking about what they're taking from that Week 5 game and correcting as they head into this weekend's matchup.
The first time Buffalo took on New England this year, the Patriots were a 2-2 team with hope and optimism. No one expected the 11-2 first place juggernaut they would become. We talked to the Bills on Wednesday about what they learned from that first game, and it wasn't all about the Patriots.
Rebels came in and done a heck of a job, just building the confidence in those guys, having them play together. They play extremely hard, and it's a good football team.
They want to be physical. They want to get back to, just hard-nosed football, kind of just beat you up in the run game, and then they have explosive guys.
They're well coached. They do a really good job. Mike does, and Josh McDaniels, and across their coaching staff. You can just feel a difference in what they've done and how they're doing things.
I learned a lot about us. A lot of mistakes that we made on our part. Can't win the game turning over the ball.
We just got to play our brand of football, right? We got to limit penalties. I think that was the biggest factor in the first game, was us missing tackles and having a lot of penalties, right? And still a close game, but we just got to take away those and just go out there and play a clean game.
I think you learn more from the losses, and we feel like we've kind of been battle tested in a sense, but at the end of the day, it comes down to who executes better on game day. It doesn't matter what plays are called, and I think, we have this mindset of it's not the plays, it's the players.
It's not really about them. It's about the Bills and what we have to do to be able to win every week. Faceless, nameless opponents, how I see it, how we see it in the receiver room. So it's just focusing on our game plan and doing the right things that we're supposed to do.
Jordan Phillips also recognizes in the Patriots some uncertainty, a young team now unsure of their own ceiling. Phillips added, quote, "I think they're still trying to figure out who they're going to be and how good they want to be."
All right, so that last game against the Patriots, Drake May and Josh Allen had kind of similar stats. Josh Allen, 253 yards, Drake May, 273. But Stephon Diggs was a big difference maker in that game, 146 receiving yards. So see if the Bills can shut him down this weekend, because that was, everybody was kind of thinking, I think he came off his first career 100-yard game, or his first in quite some time, leading into that game, and everyone was like, is he going to do it again? And then he did it again, 146 yards. So we'll see if they can kind of turn things around. James Cook also had a pretty quiet game back in Week 5. So a lot of things that I think the Bills have learned from that time forward into this point in the season that, I believe they will correct and come out with a win. But we will get into all of those predictions tomorrow on BKL Nightly. We won't get into those now. But now it is time for our roundtable segment. Thad Brown, Josh Reed, and Carl Jones, as they do weekly out in Orchard Park, discuss the main storylines of the game. Talk a lot about Joey Bosa, who was limited, as I mentioned today, but unsure what his status is this weekend. Also talked about how good actually are the Patriots. People have talked about their schedule being pretty soft, but they are 11-2. So I will let them take it away from here with all of your pressing stats, questions, X's and O's that you need to know.
Time for the BKL Nightly Roundtable. Thad Brown, Josh Reed, Carl Jones, the same cast. You love them. You watch them every week. We're going to deliver for you again. Bills and Patriots this week. Question number one. Without Joey Bosa, that pass rush looked pretty ineffective. Now, look, the snow was a big part of that Bengals game as well, but we don't know how healthy Bosa is going to be, limited in a walkthrough on Wednesday. If you're the Bills, Josh, how hard do you push Joey Bosa to play this game?
Yeah, it didn't look good against the Bengals, and even when he was in the lineup the last couple of weeks, didn't look great, right? But I would slow play the heck out of this one. I would want Joey Bosa to be ready when the money is on the line, when it is go time in the postseason. He's got an injury history. We know that. He's up there in age at this point. Re-aggravating an injury like that's pretty easy. When you're talking about a hamstring, you go out there, and if you're 90%, you could become 20% just like that. So, look, I know that it's an important game if you want to keep your hopes of winning the division alive, but to me, keeping the playoff, the long run alive, you want to keep Joey Bosa as healthy as you can heading into the playoffs.
In terms of like what they need this Sunday, of course you need pass rush and pressure on Drake May. But Josh just mentioned it. This team, while a win is important on Sunday, they want the Lombardi Trophy in February. And if Joey Bosa is not available in January, you can kiss that Lombardi Trophy goodbye. So, like you mentioned, I'm not a doctor, but I do know a little something about soft tissue injuries. When it's cold outside, it gets a lot harder to play through those things because you think you're feeling good, but the cold is masking it a little bit. Joey Bosa, come holler at me. I know a little bit about PT. But nonetheless, I think that if he's not 100%, do not play him.
And Joey Bosa is a guy that has had a hard time staying at 100%. Not that this is a deciding factor, but the Patriots are going to be without their starting left guard and left tackle, which does make the chore a little easier when it comes to getting to the quarterback. Not that I think we can expect Morgan Fox and TJ Sanders to suddenly become exquisite pass rushers, but to that point, you might have a little more margin for error when it comes to the guys that you play. As for this Patriots team, they are 11-2, I think is what it is. They're something in 2. That's all I know, and they were something in 2 when they were in Buffalo back in October, so that tells you what they've done since. But a lot of that is against the easiest, it's the soft tissue of the NFL. How good do you guys think this Patriots team is?
I think they're very good. I mean, they've won 10 straight games, and you don't do that without being very good, and I get it. Their schedule, Charmin soft. It has not been tough. They've got wins against the Bills and the Buccaneers. Both teams were banged up. So, look, you got to pump your brakes on, starting to engrave their name on the Lombardi Trophy. I don't think we're there yet. But from the first time we saw Drake May play, I think we all walked away going, that guy's going to be an issue for the Bills and, quite frankly, all of the AFC, in the years to come. He's really developed nicely. We had a chance to talk to a lot of the guys in the locker room after practice and even Josh Allen, and they had a ton of praise for Drake May and his growth from year 1 to year 2. And when you want to turn a program around like the Patriots were, because they were at the bottom of the barrel, right? The two things you have to have is a head coach. They found it in Mike Vrabel, and a quarterback, and they found it in Drake May. So that program is legit. Beating the Bills twice, though, that would definitely, to me, really kind of put their name on the board of, hey, this team can actually win a Super Bowl.
I think that if there's a bucket of 5-6 teams that can win a Super Bowl, I wouldn't put them in it. However, I think that they are on that next group right behind them that say, hey, if things break the right way, they could maybe go on some run to a Lombardi Trophy. But you mentioned it. In order to have success late into the year and into the postseason, you need a quarterback, you need a head coach that's been there, done that. I know he's never won a Super Bowl, but he's been in this league. Even as a player, he's won some Super Bowl trophies. But also, Josh McDaniel is a big reason why they've had success. You look at that offense, and it's Stephon Diggs, Travion Henderson, the rookie, and Hunter Henry. None of those guys are going to be Pro Bowlers this year. So I think that speaks to the cohesive unit that they have. But I still think they're missing that S-tier player opposite of Drake May, even on the other side of the ball as well.
I think in a normal year, I would agree with they're not in the Super Bowl bucket. In this AFC this year, if you get in the dance, you're probably in the bucket to go to the Super Bowl, to be honest. Maybe not Pittsburgh or the Chargers, but most teams are. The thing that I go back to, though, is not only is Drake May, the eye test says he's a guy, right? Well, the numbers say it, too. I was going through it last night. He's first or second in just about everything in the league. And look, yes, the schedule's been easy, but his receiving core is old Stephon Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, a guy named Pop. Look, this is a good quarterback. If you're going to put up those numbers, I don't care who the opponents are. You got to be able to play. It's not like this is a quarterback like Bo Nix is doing in Denver, where the defense is ridiculous and you can run the ball forever and just don't screw it up. He's the driver of the offense. And to me, when the quarterback is that, even if it's against bad teams, I put them myself in that bucket. And real quick, I just want to, if you 5 or 6 teams that are ahead of them, who are the teams we're talking about?
NFL in totality, I would say.
I know, but even if you want to say
I would
NFC.
probably say the Bills I would put in that bucket. I would put the Packers, the Seahawks, the Rams, and that's probably 4 right there. Shoot, we're talking about 5 or 6.
That's probably it.
That's probably the guys.
Eagles no more?
Nah,
yeah, exactly.
I saw that game Monday night. I'm cool. So that's probably a core 4 I feel strong about that I say will win it. But then once, like I said, that bucket, things break the right way for the Patriots. And one thing I will say about the Patriots, their schedule might be strong and soft, but they play good defenses. They played the Browns. They played the Bucs. They played defenses that can get after them.
And succeeded against them. So that's more about the Patriots defense, which I think is a little bit overrated. I think I'm in the same spot with you. Maybe 5th best and just a prove it to me before I believe in you kind of thing. All right, for the Bills' point of view, they can't clinch anything this week. They're still really likely to make the playoffs, really unlikely to win the division. So all that said, guys, how bad do the Bills need to win this game on Sunday?
I don't think they do. I really don't. Now, I think it would be a statement, and I think the seed is already in the Patriots' head, right? Anytime Josh Allen walks into the building, you go, I'm not exactly sure we can beat this team because they're led by Josh Allen. I think what this would do if the Bills win, it's watering that seed. It's really letting it grow and ferment a little bit and going, oh, if we see him again in the playoffs, that's probably not a good formula for success. So while I do think it's important, look, we got a mixed bag of reactions from the Bills after practice on, hey, this is a chance for hat and T-shirts for the Patriots. Does that matter? Is there any kind of hidden motivation? Maybe not even hidden motivation, just extra motivation that they don't bust those out against you guys in their home. Mixed bag. Some guys were like, it doesn't matter. Every game's a big game this time of year. Reggie Gilliam, he's been here 5 years. The Bills have won the division all 5 years. A chance to catch up with him, and he said he doesn't plan on having that change this season. So, look, I know that it's a slim chance of them winning the division, but it's still there. And if they win on Sunday, the pressure starts to swing a little bit toward the Patriots then.
I think it's important for the sole purpose of the Bills getting home games in the postseason. We've seen the records of how they've struggled away from Highmark Stadium. Even if they can get one home game in the postseason and you only have to go on the road twice, I think that helps out a lot. Josh Allen's amazing, and he's going to be by far the best player in the AFC playoffs when they begin. But asking him to win 3 road playoff games, and it's probably going to have to go up against 2 or 3 elite defenses, that's asking a lot of even Superman. So that's why I think this game is important. You need to make sure that you keep your division hopes alive.
Even for not in the division hopes, but if you can be the number 1 wild card, all of a sudden that game against the likely AFC North winner looks a whole lot easier. If it's the Pittsburgh team you just dominated a week ago. The thing for me is, to me, it's more about internal stuff for the Bills. Think about this. What's the best win they have this year? Kansas City, who's 6-7? The Panthers with Andy Dalton. What's their really good win? This on the road would qualify.
Yeah,
so
early season Ravens.
Yeah,
because we didn't know exactly what they were about yet.
But even then, that they're more healthy now, and they still can't figure it out. I think you're right, though. But that one even was a 1-100. We had everything go right for us in the fourth quarter. And also, this is a team that has been able to generate success in December and go into the playoffs on a positive note. You need a win like this to get that going as well. So for me, it's not about winning the division or that stuff. It's just get your own internal temperature cooking a little bit. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the BKL Nightly Roundtable. For Carl and Josh, I'm Thad. Let's go back to you in the studio.
Alrighty, thank you guys. We are going to take a very quick break. When we come back, Thad Brown is going to answer some of your questions out in Orchard Park. That's next. Welcome back to BKL Nightly. It is now time to dip into the mailbag. Thad Brown is out in Orchard Park, staying warm inside today as the Bills get ready for a big game this weekend, a rematch, of course, against the Patriots. We'll get right into some questions here because everybody has a lot on their minds ahead of this AFC East battle. So from Blue Sky user EJ Miller 707, the Bills offense played horrible last time out and still almost won. This user mentions the 3 turnovers and says no turnovers. They believe that would be a victory and a clean game wins it for the Bills. Thad, what do you think about the Bills winning the turnover battle being the big difference here for who comes out on top?
There's no doubt the 3 turnovers in the first game against the Patriots played a big part in Buffalo losing that game. I think fans have put a lot of emphasis maybe on just that as the only factor. This is still a really good Patriots team that can win without forcing that many turnovers. That said, turnovers have been the bugaboo for this Bills offense for the last few weeks and one of the big reasons they've lost all of their other games as well. So this is not just a Patriots thing. When the Bills turn it over, that has become the biggest stopper of this offense so far. Obviously, if they don't have any turnovers in this game, that goes a long way towards winning. Whether or not they can actually do that remains to be seen. New England isn't a ridiculously good defense when it comes to forcing turnovers, but they have been an above-average defense so far. So no doubt, no turnovers will be a factor, but I don't think it's the factor some fans put on the reason why Buffalo lost that first game against New England.
Now, we know that the Patriots, once they beat the Bills the first time, have been on a winning streak ever since, and they have the chance to clinch the division this weekend. So from ex-user Jake Butkowski, thinks the Bills can beat the Pats, but doesn't think they'll get any of the help we need. The Bills win. They keep their division, clinching the title, hopes alive. But this user does not think that that might even matter. So, Thad, what are your thoughts on this lack of optimism, maybe from this ex-user right here?
I don't know if it's lack of optimism. I think it's more realism about where the Bills are at. I do think the Bills will win this game. I'm probably going to pick Buffalo to win, but I agree that at the end of the day, that the Patriots are going to win the division simply by beating the Jets in Miami end of the year. Look, the Dolphins have a real chance to be alive for a playoff spot that last game. That will be no easy game for New England, but I think they've proved over these last 2-3 months or whatever that they are a team that can handle that kind of game. We'll see. It will be new for the Patriots if it does come down to that last week, and I think that the best scenario for the Bills is making New England win that game. Put the pressure on them squarely. And I think with a win this weekend, Buffalo will go a long way towards doing that. But I really feel good enough about this Patriots team to handle their own business. And I guess there is a scenario out there where if the Bills lose to Philadelphia, they can still get in if the Patriots lose to Baltimore and one of the two division teams. But it really comes down to those last 2 weeks. And this New England team, with Mike Vrabel coaching it, if they're healthy, and that's a big question because they're missing a few linemen for this game this week, I think they will handle their own business end of the year.
Now we've got one more question here from ex-user Stanley, aka Pretzel Day 21. Of course, this is a big test on Sunday. It's a must-win if the Bills want to fly high into the playoffs. This user says a loss this Sunday would be devastating. Thad, what are your thoughts on just how high the stakes are this Sunday, and if the Bills win, if the Bills lose, what this could potentially mean for the rest of the year?
I think this is a good question because it points to what the Bills can accomplish with this win. It's not so much about winning the division, which still would be possible if the Bills win on Sunday, but it's about getting their own house in order, getting themselves going in the right direction, because the Bills are on a 2-game winning streak for the first time since week 4. Week 7, whatever it is. This is not a team that's been hot too often. This is the kind of game, especially with Cleveland to follow, a home game against a Philadelphia team that can't figure out left from right now. The Bills have an opportunity with this win to really get themselves heading in the right direction and get real hot going into the playoffs. Even if it's going to be as a wild card, as a 5 seed, if they walk into the postseason on a 6-game win streak with a win on the road in Foxborough, a home win over Philadelphia, that is a team no one will want to face in the postseason. So the Bills have to handle their end and win their own games. And I think this week will probably be the toughest hurdle towards doing that.
Certainly a lot of good questions today. Just like we said, this is a big test on Sunday. It'll see how this one plays out. And if the Bills can extend that winning streak, like you said, to 3, as if they, have they done that all season? They haven't put together a big winning streak at all. So we will see on Sunday, of course. All right, thank you, Thad, so much for being out in Orchard Park answering today's questions. That is going to wrap up this week's BKL Mailbag segment. All right, as always, you can send your questions each week over to @ThadBrown7 on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, and over on the News 8 Facebook page. We try to get to the good ones each week. And Thad always answers them out in Orchard Park, bearing the weather. He wasn't today, though. He was inside. But typically he's out there, snow, rain, doesn't matter. He's out there answering you guys' questions. All right, we've got one more thing to get to tonight, and that is Drake May. Talked a lot about Drake May, just how good he's been this year, how he's really evolved from his rookie season to where he is now. And a lot of the Bills players have obviously noticed just how good he's been. I mean, he's led this team to 10 straight wins, 11-2 record. Certainly a turnaround from, like I said, how the Patriots were last year. So here's some of those Bills players today talking about Drake May and just the praise that they have for such a young quarterback.
He's playing like a veteran quarterback. He's seeing things extremely well. He plays at a great pace. Things looks like things have slowed down for him, which again, we hate to see that, right? But I'm happy for how well he's playing because he's a great human being on top of being a football player.
He's a smart player, talented, knows how to use his teammates and know how to. He got good ball to him, and is in a good system for him.
Another year of experience, another year of maturity in the NFL and understanding NFL defenses. Really good player, very athletic. Does a really good job in their offense in particular, and Josh does a phenomenal job of developing quarterbacks. Josh McDaniels, and he's done it. He's done it several times before, and this is no different.
A lot of comparisons have been made between Josh Allen, a young Josh Allen, and Drake May. So it'll certainly be fun to see what happens this time around in the round 2 of this AFC East matchup. Should be fun. Should be, maybe just as close as last time. 23-20 was the final score last time. I think it might be a little bit higher of a score this time around, but of course we'll see. The kickoff comes on Sunday. All right, thank you so much for spending your evening with me here on BKL Nightly. It's been fun. I'll be back next week, but Me and Thad and Caleb will be back tomorrow with predictions, talking more a little bit about this game as we get closer to kickoff. But for now, for Thad Brown, for Josh Reed, for Carl Jones, I am Rachel Liebert. Thank you so much for watching BKL Nightly. We'll catch you next time.
Get the Rochester First streaming app today for everything you love from News 8 On Demand, plus exclusive shows you won't see anywhere else. Search ROC and download for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.